All right. Hello. This is John Wigger. We're working on exercise number 2 today in our CAD 105 Creo class. So let's get to it. All right. First thing we need to do is to get a new file started up as per usual. We're going to be doing a part file again. It's going to be a solid. We are working on exercise 2. I'm going to call it E2. And go ahead and hit OK. Get that file going. All right, so what we're working with in exercise 2 and the additional lab drawings, of which there are 2, we're going to be practicing the not the extrude, which we worked on in exercise 1, but we're going to look at features that are revolved. So revolve feature, what that is going to be a sketch that we take. Okay, so let's think of a sketch. We're making a sketch. This is going to be my two-dimensional sketch. We're just looking at this face here. Okay, I'm going to take a sketch. And in order to make a 3D body, when we did that with extrusion, we took that sketch, we pulled it into existence in 3 dimensions, or we pushed that sketch to do the same thing. And we can either make a positive thing that's a new solid, or we could use that sketch to remove something from another object. So with the revolve, what we're doing is we are starting off with a plane. Okay, this red is going to be our plane. This is going to be our sketch, and we're setting that sketch near that plane. Okay, in this example, we're going to have that plane be right on the edge of that sketch. And then with revolve, what we're doing is we're picking a sketch, we're picking the plane that it's revolving around, and then we're going to rotate that sketch all the way around that axis. Okay? So when we rotate that two-dimensional rectangle around the center axis, when that sketch is lying on there, what do we end up with? We end up with coffee. Well, we don't end up with coffee, but we end up with cylinder, right? So we take a flat plane, rotate it around a point where the edge of that plane, that drawing, that sketch exists on that. We're going to end up with a cylinder. Thankfully, in that case, it's a cylinder full of coffee at the end of the first week of classes on a Friday afternoon. Still need that coffee a little bit. So here we go. So revolve features. Let us take a look at what we are working towards here. Okay, we are looking in, we're at page 26 is where we're starting in the text. Okay, and we have a little bit of a review of what a revolve feature is and looking at some things that you need to do. So we have that line, that plane there, right? That axis. We have that sketch like I showed you, and that's revolved around there to make you that cylinder. We show some bad examples. We can't have that line, that axis go through that sketch. Can't revolve something around it if the axis goes through it. We see that we have 2 on either side, mirrors of each other, which is just what it says, a waste of time. Okay, you're going to get the same result if you do this waste of time version, or you do the good version next to it, which is what you want to do. And that axis, a single sketch, and it's going to revolve around there. So what we're trying to do here is we're going to make this what looks like a pulley. It's a pulley, right? Okay. You can dress it up a little bit and make it more look like a rim for a car, which if you watch Chris Cora's video on this exercise, he takes you through the second level of dressing this up, but this is what we're going for, and this is all we need to do. So here's the dimensions that we have. So let's think about this. We know that we need to pick an axis, and in this drawing, we see this dashed line, which is showing us that axis, okay? Right here. We also have those dimensions right here. So if you look at it either way, let's look at it on the white versus on the black here. A little easier to pick it up. Okay. We have the axis, and then we have our dimensions, our two-dimensional sketch that we're going to revolve around this axis. okay? And we see that both sides are the same. So we're given the hint of sketching one side of this 2D sketch, okay? And then we have all of our dimensions. And notice there's a lot of dimensions that aren't there, okay? Part of when you are creating these two-dimensional drawings with which somebody can reproduce your work is that you don't have to have every dimension in the world listed on there. You just need to have enough to be able to get the thing done and fully describe the object. So here's a good example of not overcrowding things, giving you what's necessary so you can get the job done and not cluttering things up. Because if we give a dimension for everything, like the opposite side of this, and then this side over here, and then this angle over here, when we already have this angle, it gets to be too much. And at some point, we're going to lose focus on those object lines, the actual thing that we are trying to draw out. Okay. All right. So let's get into it. Here we go. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to turn some of these things back on again. So I'm going to turn that CSYS. I'm going to turn on those planes. I'm going to go ahead and you have your choice here. There's a revolve tool that we're going to use. If I click on revolve right away and start, I can go ahead and go in right away and pick that plane. I'm going to pick the front one. I'm going to go ahead and reset this view so they see that front view. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so that I can see. And then what I want to do, remember, is I want to sketch out half of this thing. Okay. But first, before I do anything else when I'm doing a revolved a feature or an object, is I want to go and set that center line. Okay, there's two different center lines in here. Okay, this one is a sketching center line right here. What we're going to use, and we've used before on some previous exercises. And then there's this one, which is what's called a datum or a datum. It's a datum, depending on pronunciation. Again, it's been a long day. So we're going to go with that because we want to create a center line. We're going to come and snap to this vertical axis. We're going to click left once up here, and then we're going to go straight down so that we follow that one so we have that set up. Okay, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And I want to kind of set my scale off a little bit here. I'm going to grab my dimensions here and take a look and see. And I notice that the spacing between this axis and where my sketch starts is 0.38 inches. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and set the scale by just drawing a line in real quick that I can always remove later. I'm going to let it snap to that origin. I'm going to come out over here and double click to get out of that. And I'm going to come in, I'm going to set this distance. Okay, it gets a little bit weird though, because we set, this is why it's important when you start off a revolve feature, especially if you start automatically in that revolve tool, is that you set that center right away because you need that center. And if you don't do that right away, sometimes your revolve isn't going to work. It isn't going to happen. It isn't going to be finalized when you get done at the end. Okay. So let's scale this thing down a little bit, just so we get things in perspective. And we have 0.38 on each side. So 3/8 and 3/8 is about 3/4 by the time we get done across, right? Even late in the day, that makes sense to me. Okay, so I got that line scaled so that that distance from here to here is right. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw half of this. I'm going to focus on drawing the top half of this sketch. So I'm just going to have this line right here, right? And notice that there is a center line there. So let's add another center line on that horizontal axis, and then we're going to draw everything above that. So let's do that. Let's do another center line there. Go ahead and click on that origin and run it over that way. Left click to end it. Okay. All right, so we got that. Now we're going to go back into this line tool. Left click on the line tool to start. We're going to find that end of where that line was that we set up there. And we're going to start drawing half of that. And remember, it doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to get it so that it looks close. Okay, so that as we're drawing this, that this thing looks close to what half of that thing is supposed to be. So relationship-wise, those differences, those dimensions, those things look a little bit bigger or look in scale to each other as they do in the drawing, right? And then I'm going to end right there. And then I'm going to double click in the middle to end that. Okay, and see I get my dimensions here. And see that it's gone and created a bunch of dimensions for me. Okay, some of these are going to be helpful to me. Some of these I'm not going to use. We're just going to go ahead and get going on this and see what we need and what we don't. All right. So the distance between those two should be, if we go ahead and add a dimension in there from this point here to that center there, left click, move into space, center click. Okay, we see that we have an error essentially, or a warning from Creo here. And you're going to pop into these as you're starting to dimension these things. And it's worth looking at for a minute. So we have 0.375 is a dimension that we had in there already. Now I'm trying to add another dimension along the same area that I already have dimensioned with this 0.75. So what I want to do in order to do that, because I can't add this one, I can go in and delete that 0.75, that 3/4 inch one. I'm going to delete that one. And then it lets me go ahead and put that one in. Okay, so that dimension is supposed to be 0.38. Let's add that in there. We've got that one in there. Let's go ahead and just delete that line that we had in there before. Okay, I think if we go ahead and we use a different tool here, let's delete a segment. And we're going to left click on that one. That's a handy one to use. Okay, so that one's gone. Notice that we lost that dimension there, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and add that back in again. It's good practice. Left click on that corner. Left click on the center. Mouse down here to space. Center click. 0.38, enter. There we go. We got that dimension in there. It's locked in. All right, so let's kind of work our way around, and we're starting on this corner right here. And let's work our way around counterclockwise here. So dimension-wise from here to here, we really don't have a height one that's on there. Okay, that's one that Creo came up with. I'm thinking 3D printing. Let's go ahead and delete that one. We can delete it, right? Click on it, delete it. No, doesn't work that way. There's another way to do it. Okay. Can change it there. That's not the one we want to delete that. No. Oh, I just locked it. So left click on the line, on the dimension. Let's just enter that. So we take that, get that dimension in there. Let's left click on the line. It pops up here. Left click this little box. I'm going to unlock it. If I did that accidentally, we're going to left click again here. We're going to replace that dimension. And it might get added back in here again, but that's okay. So let's add a dimension that we see. So we have that 0.4 inches from here to here. Let's go ahead and click on dimension. So you look, it threw that one back in there. It's okay. I'm going to go here and here. Left click, center click away from it. 0.4, enter. We'll see what happened. Our sketch kind of got blown up a little bit. Let's hit Control Z and see what happened there. Okay, so what we did is we tried to change a really small dimension first in the grand scheme of things. Let's do one of the bigger ones first. Let's go ahead and set this total distance from the center line to this point over here, which is supposed to be 2.5. Let's set that one first. So here we go. Dimension, center line, outer corner, left click on each one of those, a center click up above, and that is 2.5 to 2.5 inches. Let's do that. We stretched it out a little bit. Let's get that extent. So how tall from the center to the top there is this thing? Let's get that dimension in place. Okay, so we have 2 inches is the whole top to bottom for both sides. So we need a 1-inch dimension. We need that right there. So we need that 1. Okay, there we go. Got that one in. We got that one in. Depending on which way you're going, if you're trying to make something, you've got something drawn out, sketched out, and you want to make it bigger, you want to start with those dimensions that are supposed to be largest so that you scale things out. When you try and adjust what I did originally and changing that 0.12 inches to 0.4, you saw that that thing got really huge in relation to everything, and it messed up the relationship between all those elements of that sketch. So if you're going bigger, start with the bigger dimensions, get those locked in, and then work into the smaller ones, okay? So there we go, we got that one. Let's set this distance from here to the center line to 1 inch. So we're gonna click in with another dimension. We're gonna click right here, go to the center. We're gonna bring that dimension up here, and we're gonna go 1. See, we had some weird stuff going on there too. Do we like that one? I don't like that one. That one kind of went a little bit weird on me. So let's set something else so that doesn't happen. I know that this is supposed to be 1/8 of an inch from here to here because it's only 1/4 all the way across. So let me add that dimension in real quick. So here to here, we're going to come out. We want to put that one over here. Okay, so 0.125. Okay, so we got that locked in. That doesn't mess that up. Okay. Let's add another one in here. We have an angle from here to here. Let's go ahead and put that angle in. So we're still on dimension. We're going to click on the angled line, and then the reference that we're drawing that angle off of, dimensioning it off. Click both of those. And we're going to come off to the side and do a center click to add that in there. Okay, and we already have, it looks like we already have some things that are messing us up here when we try and put that in there. So the order of these things matter definitely very much. Okay, so what happens when we try to change that is it doesn't let us do that, because there's already that angle dimension in there of 32.607. I'm going to delete that one. Okay, we're going to delete that one. But I think that was the one we just added in. So let's try and put that dimension there again. 3607. So one of these other ones is causing us a problem. I wonder which one it is. Let's go ahead and let's just close that out. Let's see what's going on here. Maybe we have another angle in here hiding somewhere. Do we have an angle anywhere that's specced out on there? This is set as a strong dimension. Let's go ahead and fix that one. Let's get that back to what it should be. That one is supposed to be 0.4. See, that did some weird things there too, right? So let's undo. Let's leave that at 0.4 and let's see if we can get this one in here. Because really you got to go through and work through this stuff sometimes and just figure out what the heck is going on sometimes with some of these angles. So look at, I try and put it in there and it goes, no, I don't think so. You can't do that. So we have one other dimension here that's messing us up. Okay. So is this a dimension we spec'd in here? No, we didn't spec that one in there. Let's delete that one. Okay, let's delete that dimension. Delete that one. Okay, now let's try and set this. Now we can. It's supposed to be 18 degrees. Right? From there to there, but see, we're kind of messed up still a little bit. But that's okay. Let's fix some of the other ones, and I bet you things will get a little bit better. So let's see here. So we need a dimension right here to the center of an inch. So let's go ahead and put that one in there. And I bet you, I hope here, I do that. I have one that it's fighting with here, which is this dimension. Okay. So this dimension right here, number 16, this one right here, we're going to delete that one. And now I can change that one to be an inch that I need it to be. 1 inch, enter. That did some funny things. Let's undo that one. I got that one. Let's look at this angle. This angle looks a little bit weird, doesn't it? It's supposed to be 18 degrees. 18 degrees, the slope of it looks right, but it's backwards. What can we do with that? Can we put a different sign in front of it? No. How can we make that run the other way? Well, we know there's 360 degrees in a circle, right? What if we added 180 degrees to that? Or took that away from 180 degrees? Would that make any difference? Let's try the first way. So 180 plus 18, 198. Okay, that gets really weird then. Okay, no, don't like that one. Let's take it the other way. 180 minus 18. It's 162. What happens if we do 162? It gets right. It's kind of like the way it's running now is right, but it's gone on the other side. So let's cancel that. We just canceled the whole sketch. Anyway, just canceled the whole sketch. This is you doing this right now. It's okay. All right. So we just deleted the whole thing. It's not gone. Just undo. Okay, we got a history here. Let's see if we can do that. Can we undo it? Control Z. No, there's no history to undo because we just canceled the whole darn thing out. What do we do? I don't know if I like the way that that was going. We had too many dimensions in there. Things were kind of getting messed up. Can we do a little bit cleaner? Probably. Can we do it a little bit faster, maybe? Oh, no, let's see. All right, so let's just do a sketch this time, okay? We're going to do it on that front. Hit sketch. We have a vertical and a horizontal axis set up on there already. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and set a couple of these things up. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go ahead and start with the line tool. And I'm going to come off of here, but not to where it snaps to anything else other than the center. Okay, and I'm going to draw that first line. Let's see if we can get that one scaled up first. Or how about this one? Let's go over this way. And let's double center click to end that. Let's get this scaled. Scale this one. Let's try this way. So 0.4. 0.4, this goes to 1.67. Okay, this right here, we know needs to be 0.38. So let's get that dimension there, right? 0.38. Okay, now we got that spacing right. We got this dimension right. We got this one right. We're pretty in scale. Let's continue on with sketching the rest of the thing. Okay, so we're going to come down. We have that angle, right? Kind of looks like this. We kind of go over like this. And Tim, when I go back to that center and fill that up like that, we can do this. We're going to go like that. And then up so that it's higher than this. I'm going to go over. We're going to come back down. And we're going to double center to end it. All right, let's see how we did this time. Okay. Go ahead and start right here. We got this dimension set, that dimension set. Let's go with this angle. And let's go ahead and we don't want to edit that one. We want to escape out of there. Okay, we can get rid of that one, right? We'll replace that one. Let's replace it. And let's replace it with this to here. Left click, center click over there. You get that angle set at 18 degrees. Okay, an angle that was driving us crazy before. All right, so let's set the distance from here to the center to 1 inch. Okay, so we're on dimension. We're going to this point, this intersection point right here. From there to our center line. Okay, which is right there. And I'm going to turn off that plane because that plane is distracting when it's next to there, right there. So we got that to there. Click up here, set it to 1. There we go. Okay. We have a dimension overall from the center to that outer edge. Let's do that one. Okay. Center axis, that corner. Center click up above. Dimension, center, outer, there. And it doesn't want to give it to us. Let's go ahead and left click on this one. Left click on it, replace. And let's go ahead and there and there and come up here. There we go. Dimensions, they'll fight each other. You can't over constrain. You can't over constrain that sketch. Okay. See what happened there? That got a little bit weird. Let's go ahead and undo that. Okay, let's set something else here. Point on entity, which means that that one's going to be on there. Okay. Let's go ahead and change a couple of these things. This is too tall. We know that that one only needs to be 1 inch, right? So we do 1 inch, and when we grab this dimension, left click and hold, we can drag it outside, put it where we want it to be. Okay, we know the dimension from here to here is 1/8 of 1 inch. Let's do that one. So let's add that in there. Dimension, left click there, come on out where you want it to be, center click, 0.125. There we go. This dimension, we don't like. We need to get rid of that one because that one doesn't really help us at all. So if we try and change this one here, let's try and do that. Let's click on that one, double click, and go pull 2.5. Why is that one there? That's not even a dimension we had set up before. Let's Control Z, undo that one. That's where it's going. We need to get rid of this one. That one is locked. Oh no, it's unlocked right now. Yeah, it's locked. Locked means that you really can't do as much with it. Let's replace it with this dimension. Let's see if it'll work. It's not, because that one's there. So let's just delete that dimension. Let's go ahead and left click on this one, replace, and then we're going to come and get that dimension in there at 2.5, where we want it to be from how it's spec'd, 2.5. Okay, we're going to go ahead and remove this one because that one doesn't need to be there. But notice now we're a little bit messed up. 2.5, that's the outer. We have that. I'm going to delete that one. I'm going to come down and I'm going to click on that 1.839, delete that one. Replace it rather. Let's replace it there to there. 2.5. Enter. Nope, not quite. Let's bring that back to the middle. Look at that from the front. This is a point, if you're still with me, where some of you might be saying, man, he's taken a long way to get there. And those of you who are saying that are the ones that have some CAD experience already. And I like to, especially with, I'm assuming that a lot of people that are taking the class don't have a whole lot of CAD experience. And they're looking at this and they're going, and they're making mistakes. They're making these mistakes and trying to work through them. You've got to be able to fix these dimensioning things when you make those mistakes. So here's what we're doing. We're trying to go through and get those things fixed. So our dimensions are getting to be a little bit weird. Okay, let's go ahead and correct some of these ones to make them what they're supposed to be, 0.25 there. Okay, we have that one set up right. We have this set up right. We have this dimension set up right, that angle, that 0.4 there, that 0.25 there, 1 inch from the center to there. We just have this one. It's really being kind of a thorn in our side right now. And the reason that it is because we don't want a dimension there, right? We don't want that one there. So we just want to get rid of it. But it doesn't want to go. See how it doesn't want to go without a fight? If I click on it and I hit delete, if I right click on it, it doesn't want to do anything. If I center click on it, I think I'm getting is a left click option. What are these other options? Do we have anything else that's going to help us? No, we don't want to change it to a strong. We just want to replace it. Let's replace it with a dimension from here to here to make it 2.5. 2.5. 2.5. Enter. Hey, look at that. I think we've got all the dimensions in there that we want to have, right? Okay, so 2.5 from the center to that outer corner, 1 inch from this point, this intersection to the center, 18-degree angle right there, 0.4 inches here, 0.38 from that center line, 1/8 of an inch from here to that center line, 1 inch from center to this corner, 1/4 of an inch from this corner to this corner. think we might have it. Looks like we do. Got to finish one thing though, right? We got to go ahead and got to mirror these entities from the sketch across this mirror line. Okay. See, we don't have that mirror option that turns up as something we click on yet. So we got to give it something we can mirror. So let's go ahead and grab those things. Okay, I'm going to do it the long way. I'm going to have the control and left click while I'm holding control to grab all those things. Okay. Then I'm going to let go of that control. I'm going to left click on mirror. I'm going to find that line I want to mirror it on. I'm going to left click on it. There we go. See, the nice thing that happened too with us, for us right here, is that when we did that, everything got shaded in. Shaded in Creo is a good thing when it comes to sketching because it means that sketch is manifold. Okay, it means it doesn't have any openings in it. That perimeter, those object lines that we drew, that we created here, are perfect. There is no openings in between everything. So this shaded region here can become something that we can actually use to extrude, or in this case, to revolve. All right, so let's go ahead and revolve that thing. Let's click on revolve. Oh, we got to first finish our sketch by hitting OK. Okay. And let's go ahead and revolve that thing. Okay, so we're going to draw. Cancel that. Okay, let's add an axis. Do we need to add an axis? Maybe we can just revolve around that because that was where our origin was. Let's try that. Let's revolve. And it's sketch 1, right? Sketch 1. The axis we're going to add. We don't have that there to do. If we click on this, watch what happens. Nope, that's not quite what we wanted, right? Because we need to revolve around this. So let's go ahead and, no, we don't want to. Let's cancel that. Yep. Okay. Let's do that revolve again. Sketch 1. Ah, there we go. See that? Go back. Let's cancel that again. Yep, we really want to cancel. Even though we got the thing, we really want to cancel. So we'll revolve. Sketch 1 automatically comes in. Then if we just click on that CSYS, and if it's not there, remember, you can bring it back here. Click on that Y-axis because our center line ran up the Y-axis. We can just click on the Y-axis, and then we get that revolve done there. Now we look like we have a pulley. Okay, we're going to hit OK to finish that feature. And then there's just a couple things we got to do that's left over. Right, so there is a couple of, let's see, rounds that they want us to put on here, which have a radius of 0.1. Those are nice and easy to do. We know how to do those already. We're going to go to round. We're going to click on an edge. Remember, Creo is very intuitive. It's going to go ahead and help us and identify that we probably want those other things. We're going to set that radius. Okay. Let's do it up here. 0.1, enter. Okay, then we can go ahead and click on some other edges too. Those are all going to become 0.1. Okay, I'm going to center click on that scroll wheel, and I'm going to come and grab these other ones. Boop, that one there. This edge here. Did I get it or did I deselect that one? Looks like it got deselected, didn't it? Yeah, it got a little weird there. Got a little click happy. Let's cancel on that one. So we don't like that. Let's try that again. It's a round. I'm going to be particular and click just on the corner. Just on the corner here. Good on that side. Okay. Just the corner, not the side. Let's move our viewpoint so we can get the thing we want. There we go. Got all four of those. Let's zoom out. Let's hit OK. Let's go back here. Reset our view to a standard orientation. Turn off some of the other noise here. And that is what you need to do for exercise number 2. This is your end game. Yes, I know we took the long road to get there for those of you that have done some CAD. Or maybe those of you discovered the quicker way, the quickest way to get to it with that sketch. But I want to take you through the process, the solving of things, the working through that, because that's the hardest part when you get started. If I take you through and it's a perfect run through and I just rip through this thing and explain some of the stuff, when you start having problems there, you're going to be watching and then you're going to be doing exactly the same thing I do, point by point by point. And that doesn't really benefit you. I want you to learn how to work through some of those problems, and that's why we did it the way that we did. All right, that's exercise 2, so don't forget when you're done, we're going to go ahead and we're going to print that thing, and we're going to choose that right print option, so we're going to mouse over that print, and we're going to quick print and create that PDF. We're going to give it a name, right? We're going to save it, and then we're going to submit that. All right, that's exercise 2. I'll put up a separate one for one of the 2 labs that are due with this one. See you on that one.